happy.
Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition follows the story of Yuri Lowell, his dog Rapide, and their mediocre voice acting on their quest to track down a thief who stole the Blastia core from their town. The Blastia core are magical devices that can provide people with basic elements, as well as barriers to protect them against monsters. The Blastia core that was stolen was used to regulate the town's water supply. As Yuri tries to track down the thief, he ends up being arrested by guards, and you're forced to sneak and fight your way through the prison to escape. Does all of this sound familiar? If you've ever played a JRPG before, it should. Tales of Vesperia is full of small quality-of-life flaws, less than impressive voice acting, and starts with a relatively generic storyline, but I wouldn't say these completely mar an otherwise decent game. It's hard to hold this against Tales in general, but just like every other RPG, the introduction to the game is very linear. The story starts off very thin, and it walks you directly from point A to point B for about the first 2 hours of the game. While this is a great way to get people used to the game without getting lost and confused right away, it can also put you off from the game entirely by dragging on a little bit too long before it really gets interesting and lets you go off on your own. The game really starts to show itself off when you get through the first couple hours and you're free to roam. There's less hand-holding, and it's much more enjoyable to meet new characters and learn about the ones that have already joined your adventure.
You don't seem to know your way around the castle well. Are you an imposter?
The battle system also has some pros and cons. Typical of Tales games, the battle system is not turn-based, but allows you to freely move around an arena to attack. This is a nice break from typical JRPGs where you'd select your attack, your enemy selects theirs, and you watch each turn unfold in front of you. This makes the battle system a much easier transition for players that may be coming from an action and adventure game and may not be used to the slow tenseness of a typical RPG battle system. It's less strategy and more coordinated button mashing. While there's a quick tutorial on how to attack, block, jump, and free run around your opponents, I do wish the start of the game gave a little more explanation. If you don't free run, you will only be allowed to move to and from your targeted opponent, and you'll hardly have enough time after your attack to run away, meaning your only option is to block and take a lesser amount of damage, then wait your turn to attack again. It's been a lot more effective for me to just run behind my enemy, slash them a few times, and then run off before they can turn around. Vesperia also takes the stress of controlling all of your characters away and lets you focus on just one character. You can set how you want your characters to act, whether it be to attack head-on or focus on healing and keeping you alive, and you control one character and use them to attack, or stand back and heal your allies while they take the front lines for you. The human enemies also have some voice lines when they attack, which would be a nice touch if there was some variety and didn't use it every single time they attacked. This leads to battles where an Imperial Guard would beat me down and continuously repeat, "You like that?" as he did it.
You like that? You can't win. This'll hurt. This'll hurt. You like that? You can't win. You like that?
This really took away from the interesting battle experience. Once you're in the overworld, random battles can really break up your time heading from one town to the next, while also allowing your characters to level up. The random battle system gives you the ability to select your battles by seeing your enemies in the overworld. The problem is that the monsters can move faster than you can, so while you're able to run away, once they see you, you're pretty much guaranteed to have to fight them. In addition to that, occasionally they'll spawn directly in front of you without giving you the time to dodge around them. It's nice to have the opportunity to avoid battles if you're low on health, but it does very little to help if every enemy can move faster than you once they spot you. Something that is somewhat unusual for an RPG game is the fact that after each battle, you get some HP and TP, your technical points, back. This helps the flow from one battle to the next, as you're not just watching your HP slowly dwindle until you find the next inn to heal your party at. If you can win enough battles quickly, you can heal your party quite a lot. I found this really helpful in the first couple hours of the game, as I got so much HP back, I didn't have to worry about healing my party at all.
I finished them off.
Good music is such an important part of any video game journey. It sets the mood for each dungeon, each counter, each exchange, and so far it's been spot on with every track. Thankfully, the music in Tales of Vesperia is great. It can get a little repetitive, but otherwise the music has been incredibly enjoyable. I'm the kind of person who will overanalyze every second of every song, and I've enjoyed the resolution of every note. From the deep music of the first dungeon to the dulcet tones of the towns of Halor and the Gate of Ospio, Vesperia's soundtrack is one that you can pick up and listen to separately without having to play the game itself. The Switch is home to a strong library of RPGs, and if you're a level 30 gamer, this is one of the more accessible ones to pick up. You get an epic quest with a 40 to 50 hour completion time, unlike other offerings in the same category that fall between 60 to 80 hours. Playtime can be divided into small sessions since the game always makes it clear where your next objective is, but an archaic save system means if you're anywhere other than the world map, you'll need to use save locations. While I have my complaints about Vesperia, I don't want anyone to think that this game goes unrecommended. It has its RPG hallmarks like your crazy character wardrobes, your peppy but innocent female sidekick, your overly stoic warriors, but overall the game is a solid foundation for RPG games. The battle system is refreshing and fun, the overworld is vast, gorgeous, and not at all over-encumbering to traverse. The game lets you go where you want without letting you forget what your next objective is to continue the story. If you're a fan of RPGs, you'd do well to pick this one up. If you're a fan of the Tales series, you shouldn't skip this one. And if you've never gotten far into the RPG genre, Vesperia is a great game to start on.